Hey everyone, I'm Brett, and welcome to Nightwood Guns. The Hellcat is a series of guns from Springfield that has been absent from my library of reviews here on YouTube. And the reason for that is because I had shot them before and wasn't that impressed. I wrote them off as being snappier slim lines with bad triggers, and its boring aesthetic also didn't help my lack of interest in the gun. And that's just the reason I haven't reviewed one until now. And specifically today, we are looking at the version of the Hellcat that I think is the best fit for the channel, which is the Hellcat Pro Comp. In this video, I'm going to go over the pros and the cons of the Hellcat Pro Comp, along with sharing my thoughts on the Hellcat series in general. Oh, and if anyone can guess what this rifle is right here based on just the barrel and the muzzle device, impress me in the comments. So the thing I was most interested in for this review is answering the question, was I wrong about the Springfield Hellcat? Is it really more than just a snappy slimline with a bad trigger? We will be talking about that and much more thanks to today's sponsor, Danforth Designs. Danforth Designs is making a holstering safety for the Hellcat now, which is otherwise known as the Striker Control Device. It's a device that replaces the backplate on the slide, so when you pull the trigger, this little hinge that's on a swing will get pushed out as you pull the trigger, so you know the trigger is being pulled. This is specifically handy if you carry at appendix or carry inside the waistband at all. You can put your thumb over that device and holster it, and it will prevent you from accidentally popping yourself on the reholster. It has happened before where someone's clothing ends up in a holster, can get in the trigger guard and pull the trigger. It's simply a fail-safe to prevent a self-inflicted injury with your pistol. It's my personal opinion that I would rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. I have thoroughly tested his holstering safety on the CZ P10C as well, so if you have a P10, there's another model that he makes it for, and it has proven to be extremely durable and a handy feature to add to your gun. So if you have a Hellcat or you're intending to get a Hellcat, check out Danforth Designs. Now hopping into the meat and potatoes of the video, this was a 1,000 round review thanks to the support of Buffalo Creek Ammo. The guys over at Buffalo Creek have been incredible supporters of the channel, so if you want to support the people who support this channel, be sure to check them out. Now I don't want to keep you guys waiting in suspense for too long. I talk about ports and comps a lot on this channel, so let's hop into the actual comp that they have on the Hellcat Pro Comp. If you've watched my other videos on guns that come with these integral ports in them, you'll know that it's my opinion that they don't do a whole lot other than make the gun louder. I always estimate that they reduce muzzle rise by roughly 10%. They're not as effective as a true chunk port like Monsoon Tactical does. And the reason for that is because it's just poorly designed. It's like they don't understand or don't care what makes for an efficient chunk style port. On the M&P carry comp, for example, the rifling ends and then they backboard that huge blast chamber where that port is on the barrel. And because of that, it's way larger than the diameter of the bullet, so gases escape around the bullet and come out the end of the barrel instead of all the gases being directed up through the port. Now, this is where my assumption was wrong about the Hellcat Pro Comp. It seems the people over at Springfield know what they're doing because they designed it correctly. Is it as effective as a Monsoon Tactical chunk port? Not quite, but it actually works and actually does noticeably more than something like the M&P carry comp. And that's because if you look in the barrel, the rifling ends, we have a little blast chamber where the port is, and then the barrel comes back down to roughly the diameter of the bullet, directing most of the gas out of the port. So I can tell you with confidence that this port actually works. And considering one of the biggest complaints of the Hellcat is it's one of the snappier micro or slimline pistols on the market, this helps even that out. So I view this as Springfield seeing how many people were chunk porting their Hellcats and then responding with a factory solution, possibly even reverse engineering what people were getting done. It seems they did their homework. So it's my opinion that the Pro Comp solves one of the biggest issues that I had with the Hellcat, so thumbs up to Springfield. I even specifically compared it to my favorite, the Glock 43X with the Radian Ramjet Afterburner, and it was kind of too close to call. The only thing really noticeable is that the return to zero was more aggressive on the 43X with the Radian Ramjet Afterburner with the OEM spring in it than the Hellcat Pro Comp, but it felt like the Hellcat Pro Comp might actually be a little softer shooting. Regardless, the fact that I'm even making this comparison is a huge feather in Springfield's cap for the Pro Comp. Getting a Glock 43X and then the Radian Ramjet Afterburner is almost obscenely expensive, and this is a great value right out of the box. Next up, we're going to talk about magazines. It comes with a 15-round flush fit magazine, along with a 17-round pinky extended magazine, which makes the gun kind of stupidly long in the grip area, but it makes for the perfect combination for a carry gun. You get one concealable flush fit mag to keep in the gun in the holster and the longer mag to carry as a spare. This is the best combination of mags that you can get in the box. And that's some more praise I want to give Springfield on the Hellcat Pro, is the base pad is truly flush fit. It's not like the X Macro that has the 17 round magazine, but the base pad on it is really thick. So you hold the X Macro without the magazine in it, you're like, man, this is like the perfect length for concealed carry. But then you put the mag in it, you realize how much longer it makes the grip with that larger bumper on the mag. I really wish the X Macro had a flush fit 15 round mag. Another cool feature on this pistol is that the end of the recoil spring assembly acts as a standoff device, so it sits proud of the barrel. So if you have to push it into something, it will prevent the gun from going out of battery, which is when you push it into something and the slide might move rearward a little bit, and then you can't touch off around. It's actually cool attention to detail that they textured the end of the guide rod there. So if you push it into something, it will actually grip the end of the recoil spring assembly there to ensure that the standoff feature does its job. Another few features worth mentioning is it has an easy disassembly with their little takedown lever there. It is optic ready. The magazine release is textured well, doesn't stick out too far, so it won't accidentally get bumped while you're carrying it. They also have a beveled magazine well to make reloads a breeze, even on this slimline pistol. And they have a single undercut to ensure you can get a nice high grip on the gun, and it's complemented with a decent beaver tail to avoid slide bite. It has a semi-flat trigger shoe that feels good on the finger, and overall, it's really well made for a plastic striker gun. And the grip texturing is a good balance between comfortable to carry so it won't rub your skin raw and still being grippy if you grip it hard. But unfortunately, I still have some criticism of the grip texture and the way they have it set up, so be sure to stay tuned. But most importantly, the Hellcat series has garnered a reputation for being reliable, durable, and yes, having consistent quality control. And that matches my experience that I had with this Hellcat throughout the 1000 round review. But that's the thing about the Hellcat, is any criticisms can kind of appear to be nitpicks when you have a reliable and dependable gun that checks most of the right boxes. Before we hop into negatives, also worth mentioning is that there is good holster availability out there for the Hellcat series at this point, along with a decent aftermarket. And then the biggest pro of them all is that this is an incredible value. When you look at the features on this gun, along with its reliability and consistent quality control, when it comes time to pony up the dough for a concealed carry pistol, this is undeniably an incredible value. Now it's everyone's favorite part of the video, the negatives time. And if you've been enjoying yourself on this video, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, hit that like, thumbs up button, drop a comment down below. It all helps boost the video out and support the channel. So the first negative that I'm going to mention is the fact that it has a very boxy, squared off grip. Now at the end of the day, it's a gun that goes bang. Like, is that a huge issue? No, but it does impact the ergonomics of the pistol. When you grip it, you're shooting it and you can feel those hard corners that are squared off on the grip. A lot of you probably won't care about this, but personally, I don't like the way it feels in my hand because of that. Even if you look at other polymer striker fired guns in this category, you're not going to see those hard edges and squared off grip. Even if you look at Glocks, M&Ps, that kind of stuff, they try to round it off and curve it as much as they can. Speaking of boxiness, the trigger guard is also very boxy and has hard edges on there, so I was finding myself getting a little bit of Glock knuckle on my middle finger where it rubs the trigger guard just because of that hard edge. All right, now the grip texture. For me, it's a little slipperier than I would like personally, but I understand that there is a fine line between too aggressive, so it's rubbing your skin raw inside the waistband, and then too slippery so that it moves around too much, even if you have a good grip with your support hand, especially if your hands are wet or sweaty. Since this is designed to be a carry gun, they did err on the side of a smoother texture. I think that was probably the way to go and the more popular choice to make, but I myself prefer a more aggressive texture. Normally, I would praise them for bringing the texture all the way up, because this is one of the most important parts of the gun to grip with your support hand to make sure you're locking into that texture and getting good control over the gun for nice, easy, fast follow-up shots. But unfortunately, we have this smooth part of the grip right here, which wouldn't be a huge deal if they had not indented this textured portion. Since it's dimpled, the smooth portion sits proud of the textured portion. Because of that, when I'm gripping it with my support hand is locking into that smooth portion, and I can feel my hand slipping forward, especially when I'm shooting. My hands are getting sweaty. It's just slipping across that smooth portion like a slip and slide. And the reason that's unfortunate is because since it's such a slim gun with a thin grip, when I grip the gun, and keep in mind, I don't have huge hands, I wear a medium-sized glove, look at how little of this texture I have here when I wrap my fingers around the gun. I just have this tiny little strip of texture to grab with this hand, which means I need to be grabbing this texture up here in order to lock my hand in. And with that untextured portion that's sticking up, that's where my hand goes. And I just feel like I don't have a great grip on the gun. Do I shoot it just fine as is? Absolutely. But I think it's a fair, detail-oriented piece of feedback to give. Next up, we're going to talk about the iron sights. I want to give them praise for the front sight that has a little tritium vial in it and then a bright yellow circle. It's a good, bright front sight to be target focused with. I appreciate that. And they were doing great even with the U-notch rear in the back, which I'm fine with, until they put a giant white U underneath it. And being someone who shoots target focused, the last thing I want is something at the rear of the gun drawing my eyes, drawing my focus. It's just my opinion that this sight picture is a little distracting. I would prefer just a blacked out rear. Next, it has one of those loaded chamber peepholes that just plaster your optic with carbon. It's my opinion that if you're gonna have an optic ready gun, you gotta figure out a different solution if you need to have a loaded chamber indicator on the gun. Otherwise, gas is just gonna sploosh out of that hole and fog up your lens. Not the end of the world. People shoot occluded dots all the time, but it's my preference to have my full field of view, especially on a defensive pistol. The Hellcat Pro Comp also does not have any interchangeable back straps, so you can't increase or decrease the trigger reach on the gun. You just have to hope that the trigger reach is good enough for you out of the box. Not a lot of customization there. The serrations on the slide are okay and good enough until your hands get wet, then they start slipping. Now it's time to talk about the trigger. It is heavy, it is creepy, and the reset is like medium long. So we have the slack right here to the wall. Gonna start pressing through the wall. It's gonna creep a few times. Whew, that one felt particularly icky. And then we have the reset. Right there. If you're someone who wants a heavy trigger on your defensive gun because you don't trust your finger, this could be a good thing, but it does make it a little more challenging to run this thing at speed, and it does feel like I could run this thing faster, easier, with a better trigger thanks to the integral comp. So I feel like I can't even take full advantage of the integral comp on this because splitting this thing fast is a challenge. And the finish on the slide seems to be holding up well as far as corrosion resistance goes, but it does seem to be prone to scratches. It's been in and out of the holster a few times and just administratively handled at the range, and it seems to already be showing signs of wear on the slide. Now, personally, I don't care about this, but I know a lot of people watch YouTube videos on guns that do care about how their guns look, so just mentioning it. So it seems to me that shooting performance was just an afterthought when it came to the Hellcat series. The integral comp on this one helps level that out a little bit, but at the end of the day, it's a purpose-driven defensive carry pistol. And all of the features were put into this gun specifically for that purpose. Now, I have a personal preference for guns that kind of blend that line where you have the good carry features, but also have a strong shooting performance that you can easily obtain higher levels of proficiency with, especially in drills. I really like to stretch myself, carry the gun that I can shoot the best, but is still dependable and reliable. I believe that we don't have to sacrifice performance in favor of important duty and carry features. I think we can have our cake and eat it too. So was I wrong about the Hellcat? Well, I still mostly feel the same way about it, but I do want to give them kudos for the comp design on this because I assumed it was going to be as bad as the Canik MC9 Prime or the M&P carry comp. So I was wrong in my assumption about the performance of the comp, but my other initial impressions of the Hellcat line have mostly been reinforced. The Hellcat series is the definition of a personal preference gun. It's reliable with consistent quality control and a great value. The comp on this model removes the negative of it being noticeably snappy, but it still has a bad trigger and it lacks any kind of aesthetic identity. At least the Springfield XD series had a distinct style, but this just kind of looks like an unbranded generic starter pistol. The coolest thing about this gun is its completely unfitting name. You can't just slap a Hellcat name on a stock Honda CR-V and expect it to be cool. If you're a Hellcat fan, don't be mad. I'm not personally attacking you. This is just my opinion. I'm sure there are guns that you're not crazy about, despite being reliable and checking boxes. Let me know what you think about the Hellcat series in the comments down below. Be sure you hit that like, thumbs up button, and most importantly, double check that you are subscribed. That's the most important thing you can do to support the channel. A big thank you to my patrons over on Patreon. Your continued support of the channel is much appreciated. It really does make a difference over here. If you'd like to support the channel further, the links in the description below are the place to be. That's where you can find my Patreon, along with my kick-ass, action-packed short novels on Amazon, along with my merch. I'm wearing one of my shirts today. It has Nightwood Guns on one sleeve, flag on the other, a gun movie reference on the front. Go check out what other shirts I have over there. And if you want to reduce the snappiness of your Hellcat pistol, DPM Systems also makes recoil reduction systems for the Hellcat series. They are great supporters of the channel, so go check them out as well. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's video, everyone. It was great seeing you again, and I'll see you in the next video. I'm Brett, and this was Nightwood Guns. Nightwood out.